Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities.
Turnbuckles and Stogies. Yo, what is up? What is up? Yo, happy Sunday. Another Sunday with your favorite hostess with the mostest.
My dad, I'm doing a wrestling punch. I looked at her and I said, hey, I'm on to Brooklyn, New York.
We're not in Brooklyn, sir. We're in upstate New York in Dutchess County. I'm originally from Yonkers.
Wait a minute. I guess you guys don't know each other that well.
Oh, yo, what is up? What is up? Yo, it is the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla, and we are your favorite podcast on the internet, Turnbuckles and Stogies. Happy Sunday, happy fun day, mother freakers. How's everybody doing today? What's going on? Today we got a special guest. He'll be on in a little while. Right now you got me. So what's going on with everybody? I got less than 30 days to retire. So, you know, we're going to be all good. Then I got all day here to do nothing. Right now I'm smoking a Purpuro. He was on last week. It's a Purpuro Reserva. So let's talk about the weather. This fucking weather's crazy, right? Crazy weather, right? So I don't know what everybody's doing, but I'm just chilling out. Waiting for the kid to come back. Joe, bring out that other table when you come out, please. Okay. I'll get it myself then. No problem. But that's okay. So anyways, happy Sunday, happy fun day. I hope everybody is enjoying their day. It's beautiful out. It's a little cold. But cheers. So let's talk about a little wrestling. I watched a little bit this week, not much. I mean, it really don't impress me anymore. I mean, I'm getting tired of the same storyline. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, Zilla Fatu. Let's talk about my man Zilla Fatu. That's an up-and-coming dude right there. That man, I talk to him all the time. I'm trying to get him on a podcast. I got to hit him up again. He told me to hit him up. So I'm going to hit him up and come on a podcast. If I get Zilla on his podcast, that'd be dope. I talk to Zilla all the time. Now I wanted the other one for the ashtray and stuff, so we could put that there, but that's fine. Yeah. So Zilla is an up-and-coming star. He said on a live that I was on with him, somebody asked him about Windows update, load disk. So they asked him about Solo. He said Solo sucks.
There's the other table.
He said Solo sucks. So yeah. So
Put that here.
He's back.
Put that there. Now you got your ashtray and everything.
Oh my
there.
God, guys, this is why you do things yourself. And
I didn't say anything.
Set up your own area. Set up your own studio. Soon we're gonna have our own studio here. When I retire, I'm cleaning this up. We are getting a desk here. We're setting up a regular studio with a microphone, headphones, a little thing there. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set this up as my studio. We're gonna get a backdrop that says Turnbuckles and Stogies. So that's what we're gonna do here. So yeah, so Zilla is he's an up and coming star. He hasn't been signed yet. He's looking to get signed.
I think he's signed. If you ask
Booker
me.
T is taking good care of that kid.
He's signed.
No, he's not. Not yet. Not yet. But you know, it is what it is. What are you looking for? Holy shit. So this is what we do, guys. It's Sunday, another fun day with your favorite podcast on the internet, Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. I am the big dog. He is the Vanilla Gorilla. We want to thank y'all. I'm working on a giveaway now that I'm going to be retired. I'm going to download.
Our giveaway should be up pretty soon.
I'm going to download the spinner.
You don't have to. It's free on Google.
That's what I'm going to download.
You don't have to download it.
Anybody wants to get in, we'll post it up. Just make sure you follow us, like us. And here's what I want you to do.
I'll have the rules ready to go.
Okay.
That's going to be part of it, but there's going to be some other rules too.
So you got to like our page, like our Big Dog page, our Boss Dog page, the one Vanilla Gorilla page.
That's
our Facebook
definitely not
page,
mine.
The one Joey V. Sorry. The one Joey V. Like all of those. Like our Facebook page for Turnbuckles and Stogies, like our page on Instagram, tag 3 people, and you can have as many entries. You know what? We're going to do 3 entries. You can enter 3 times with 3 different people, and then we go from there. And we got some good giveaways. I'm not going to tell you what they are yet.
Well, right now we're only going to do one. It's going to be one thing we're giving away right now.
But I got to get out of the house because the wife doesn't. She's getting tired of the.
Well, that was supposed to be given away a while ago, but I didn't have the time to work everything out.
So, our guest said give him a few minutes. He'll be on. He's a wrestler.
Sharing it
He's
out.
an entrepreneur. I don't know where my phone is.
Oh, it fell. Watch. No,
I got
stop.
It. It's right here. I got to fix the chair too. So, that's what we're
Stop
doing.
clapping on the damn thing and it'll be fine.
That's what we're doing, guys. Everything is everything. You heard?
All right.
So now, Joe, what do you want to talk about, bud? I started talking about wrestling.
Yeah, but you don't have enough to talk about.
Because I don't watch
You don't pay attention to it, really.
because it's not really what I want to watch anymore. Oh, I do want to
Nothing
talk about
impresses you anymore.
I do want to talk about one. I do want to talk about
Yes,
this
see, that's
Thursday.
it. That's it.
I do want to talk about this Thursday. My brother, my friend, dear friend of mine. I haven't seen him. I'm trying to get him on here now that he's retired. Shout out to the 187 Homicide. He retired on Thursday permanently. He's not doing no wrestling.
I think he's a producer.
I think he's a producer for NWA, but I am going to get him on here. I'm going to try to get Jay Lover on here. For y'all that don't know Jay Lover, he was on, him and I used to wrestle together. So yes, so I am going to try to get him on here. I'm going to try to get us all on at once. We used to go by The Sickness and JAPW. I was with them for about 4 or 5 months. So yes, so that's what we are going to do. That's what we are going to do.
There we go.
So, but it is what it is. I wish him well in what he does. He had to retire because of some medical issues. Trying to get Tony DeVito on here. I'm trying to get, a bunch of people on here. It's just hard to do because of their work schedules or whatever.
There we go. All right.
Next week, I think we have.
Next week is booked already.
We have some people booked already. So let's get going. Let's get going here.
This
Sharing this all out to everybody. Haven't heard from this guy in a long time. It is what it is. I do want to try to get her on here because she's the bomb.
who?
Lady Moxley. That's my girl right there. Shout out to my man right here.
Can't even
Abdullah
see
the Butcher. That's Abdullah the Butcher. Look at him. He's standing up
I
now.
was actually going to talk about that and
He's standing up now because of shout out to Diamond Dallas Page. I'm going to try to get Diamond Dallas Page on here too. It's just a matter of when their schedules are working. So I'm going to try to get them on here too. And I could probably get him on here because he helped my nephew with his stuff before he passed away. So, we're gonna actually I think what we might do too is see if we can get him on here too. So that's it, guys. So it's your Sunday fun day.
oh my
with
god,
turnbuckles and stogies, the big dog, the vanilla gorilla. So
this is not working.
we
out.
are here. We are just chilling.
I'm gonna have to fix that.
Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Amazon Music,
Which all that I will be updating everything.
Amazon TV, Roku TV, Northeast Streaming Network, NBR Radio. I'd like to shout out to our sponsors, NBR Radio, Northeast Streaming Network, BAM Cigars, TPA, or is it TP?
TPA. I normally have all this
TPA,
done and shared out by now. I was running behind this morning.
S&W Cigars.
Which I'm updating some stuff to reflect
We also
all
have
these people's things.
Mr. Fred from holy moly, Fred
Espinal
Puro. We have a lot of stuff coming up, guys, so bear with us because we have a lot going on in our home life with me retiring, my daughter graduating, things like that. So, I got 30 days left and I'll be retarded. So, I hope y'all like my fucking hat. I hope y'all like my $7 hat. Yes, $7 fucking dollars in the Goodwill store. So, let's do it. Let's take a commercial break and come right back.
It ain't fair
Yo, what is up? What is up? We are back, yo. It's the Fun Day Sunday with your host with the most, the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. We are live here on Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod. Find us on Amazon TV, Roku TV, Northeast Streaming Network, NBR Radio Network, Spotify, Instagram, Instacart, Ready Alert, whatever the fuck you call it. I have no idea. But we are here. We're waiting on our guest. He should be coming on soon. He's a very busy man. He actually forgot, and I sent the messages. Joey sent the messages.
No, I only sent him a message today.
I sent him like 5 messages this week. But outstanding ish history. Who's that? Thank you.
Outlandish history.
Don't know who that is.
All right. Now I'm gonna.
Thanks for joining Outlandish Ish.
Outlandish history. Where do you get outlandish ish?
Okay. How you say thank you?
You just say that.
Thanks for joining.
We appreciate you joining.
Make sure you go to our YouTube and subscribe.
And turn that bell on to get notifications of all our videos.
You never know when we might go live one day during the week. I might have to hook that up with the producers.
Well,
have to talk to my 2 other producers in Colorado and Connecticut. So I was watching Enzo.
My new cutter.
I was watching Enzo, and he's doing a show in Connecticut with Wrestling for Fun or Kids, whatever it is. So he goes, I'm on my way. He said, I will be up in Connecticut. He said, I'm going to give you an uppercut, and somebody's going to look like a giraffe. He's the fucking best. I love fucking Enzo. I want to get him on here, too. I'm going to have to send him a personal message. See if we can get him on here. That'll blow us up sky high. We get Enzo on here. Let me see. Maybe I'll send him a message now.
I think that you have to email him.
I'll email him. It's not a problem.
You don't have to. Yeah, it's hard to get those guys on, though, because he's got his own show.
I know.
And a lot of these guys cost.
What is it? The real one, right?
No, I'll tell you right now.
I forget what he is.
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Right there, I got him.
Yeah, you have to email them.
Undefeated, PR, pictures. Well, finish talking. I got this.
You have to use the first email.
I got this.
You're not going to be able to copy and paste it.
Doug at undefeatedmedia.com.
Wow. So what's up, everybody? What's going on? We could also do that after the podcast. It doesn't have to be right now.
Okay. Well, you take care of your business. So anyway, guys, he's the producer. I got to listen to him. I'm just the owner. He runs the show.
Right, but we could do that afterwards. We don't have to do it right now on the air.
Who was that joined? Ron Dozler, what's up?
What's going on? So that's what we're smoking today.
Ron, what's up, my man? That's what we're both smoking. He
was actually on our episode last week.
Oh,
so
wait.
You can go check it out and go watch and learn about this brand and this fine, fantastic cigar. Comes in 3 sizes. It's got Robusto, Toro, and Torpedo. And he's coming out with some new stuff that he told us about.
Can't tell you right now. If you go back and look at our podcast.
I don't know if we talked about it on the episode or off the air, but he's got some stronger stuff coming out, so stay tuned for us to be smoking that because that'll be coming soon. So I think it's time.
Well, before we bring him on, let's give a little background about this cat.
Well, I think he's going to give everybody his background about it.
Well, do you want to take another quick commercial?
No, because we took a 5-minute commercial break.
Okay, so let's bring on our guy.
So why are we going to take another?
AKA Mr. Big Smoke, Mr. Man himself.
Where is it?
Mr. Matt.
Let's make sure I hit the right one.
The interview of the week is brought to you by Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Jersey Mike's, the best fucking subs in the world, yo. You heard?
There he is. What's
There
up,
he is,
bro?
ladies and gentlemen. Mr.
Jersey Mike
AKA
subs,
Mr.
the
Big
best.
Smoke. Mr. Big Smoke. Mr. I am the fucking Mac Daddy. Mr. I am the tobacconist. Mr. I own 750 businesses. Mr. I am Dave's friend.
I think you should just let him do his own intro
Well, mind your
because you
business.
didn't have that all mapped out. So
I don't need to have it all mapped
nah,
out.
you probably should have had.
No, I
mapped
don't
out.
have to have it mapped out.
Yeah, because you just screwed that all up.
Mind your
You
business.
kept stuttering.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
I don't
did.
stutter.
You
My
do.
name's not Stuttering John.
You stutter all the
Okay,
time.
so let's get to it. So what's up, Matt?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate you having me on. Thank you. I apologize for being a few minutes late, but better late than never, right?
We've
been trying to do this for a while.
We got an hour and a half. We got an hour and a half show, so it's okay. You're never late. You're always on time, no matter what time you come on.
That's how I like to hear it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. But tell me about it.
And I appreciate you taking your time and coming on out of your busy schedule from all your 25 businesses.
By the way, love the background, like the humidor.
Like the humidor. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into wrestling, how you got into cigars and things like that.
Sure. I'll do the abridged version. So I got into, I was a fan as a kid. We decided I wanted to go to broadcasting school and work for WWE. That was my goal, was to do ringside broadcasting, play-by-play. I went to broadcasting school in Stratford, Connecticut, Connecticut Schools of Broadcasting. A shout out there. And I took the classes. I ended up going back to Rhode Island. I met some guys through something else I was doing, working with Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they were starting a wrestling company and said, would you want to be our play-by-play guy? So got my start there. It was Matt and Kyle Storm at PWF Northeast. And I did that for a few years, and then ended up working for WWE in the production department in a media library. So did that for a couple more years. And then a couple different independent companies, CTWE and CCW, a couple in Mass, NEWA, the New England Wrestling with Sheldon, and then going over to cigars. I started smoking when I joined my social group, the Bearded Villains, largest bearded men's club in the world. Met a couple guys there through our chapter that we're smoking, and went to a cigar lounge, wanted to try one out, and one of my buddies in the chapter, he picked one out for me. I just said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. You mind picking one out? And he did. And I loved it. And that was about almost 10 years ago. So now I've been smoking and wrestling, and I stopped wrestling now, but smoking and just doing running the cigar business, trying to keep my head above water. But you're right. I have a lot of hats, not including this one. And I'm always busy, always moving around.
You have a lot of hats and one eye patch.
Well, yeah, I'm a little mad
around
because
here
you put the
somewhere.
eye patch on.
Yeah, I had surgery
I'm
like
a little-
Kingpin on Daredevil. I got the eyes all fixed up. I can see an AI now. It's great.
So so Matt, we're gonna go back to where you, me, and Joey met. So you and I met at Jimmy's Federation, New England Extreme Wrestling.
Whoa. New World Wrestling Extreme.
Well, New
Where did
World
you get
Wrestling
New England
Extreme,
from?
whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Whatever the fuck. It's
There's a
all
lot
the
of
same
words
shit.
in that title, so it's easy to get confused.
That was
So that's where we met. That's where you had the gimmick Big Smoke with your tag team and your big high chairs.
this was
4 years ago.
Yeah, so this was the Ryan and Omar combination of the humidor.
Did we meet once Omar had joined, or did you meet us when Big Jim was there?
No,
it was Omar.
I
Big
think
Jim had passed away.
I think we had met you. It might have been before Jim, like before Jim came in. I think we had met you once before you were up there. No, actually, I think it was just Omar and
it was just Omar
Ryan,
and
because I was smoking by my car when you came walking up.
And that's when Omar and Ryan came over to us.
I think that was the first or second time we had met. Something like that.
That's when Omar and Ryan came over, and we were doing the finishing, and then Oak had said that's cool with that finish, and then all of a sudden, You know, the owner of the federation.
Yeah, because me and you had gone to the. I had followed you to the one corner because when you asked about the cigars, it kind of piqued my curiosity. So you had went to your corner with your chair, and then we had both kind of wandered over, and we all just kind of started talking, the three of us.
Yeah, I had my smoking section.
Yeah, that was pretty much how the friendship, so to say, started, was because of standing outside my car smoking a cigar before the show started.
And we tried to do the finish. The finish was approved by the booker,
whoever was that week.
And you know, that's when
I just caught that. It took me a second.
I heard him.
You're not wrong though.
That's when we looked at the the schedule, per se, the schedule up there, and everybody on the right side was winning. So
now was that that same card?
Yes, that was the same card.
So was that when what's his name was in the commentary booth with us?
Who?
Joe?
Yeah, that was when Joe was there.
So you missed that one part. I don't think you had gotten there yet, or you were out with the boys doing something. There was a kid there under a mask, went by El Jabroni that night.
You know El Jabroni.
I don't know who was under the mask.
He's a hairy Puerto Rican.
But they were doing. No, he's a white kid. They were doing the battle royal for Trooper's grandfather, the armed forces thing that Sarge ultimately wound up winning.
Right, which is knockout Sarge. He's in the Hall of Fame.
And the kid. Now you know me. I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'4", 325, built like a brick fucking house.
Well, I wouldn't say
they don't call you the vanilla gorilla for nothing.
Yeah, this kid had to be 5 foot,
95 pounds,
120 pounds, and wanted to rip me out of the commentary chair and take over for me.
Well, he must have had the spinach that day.
I was like, what? And I just kind of stood there and I was like, yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm looking at him and I'm looking at me and I'm like, this is not, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then I go to Ope because he was booking that night. And, you know, we had all kind of come to the conclusion of like, this is not a show for the, you know, for the fun and game stuff because of the meaning behind it, which we've all been a part of those shows. If there's meaning, there's usually not a lot of fun and game shit like that. I go to him. He looks at me. He tells the kid no. Then the kid walks away or tells him clear it with Troop. He looks at me and goes, if that kid lays a hand on you, his exact words were, light him the fuck up. Were his exact words to me. Was just light him up.
He wouldn't have had to worry about it because I would have just fucking.
You wouldn't have had to.
I would have just jumped over the table and fucking power bombed him through the table, and that would have been it.
But why would you have to do that?
So
I'm right there.
So now let me ask you this, Matt. So where did you get trained, and how did you come up with the gimmick, Big Smoke, and the humidor?
Well, those are very far between. I got trained. I did take wrestling training, even though I was only going to be doing commentary and a manager, but you know, just like everything else in the wrestling business, you're more useful if you can bump.
Absolutely.
Right. You always got to take training as a manager,
because you might be required to bump one night and not. Then if you don't know how to bump, you're in trouble.
It still happens to this day, but it's with other people. But I was trained by Matt and Kyle Storm in Providence at the PWF Squared Circle Academy back on. I forget. It's somewhere in North Providence. I forget the name. It was right on 44th. But it was an old boxing gym that they ended up. Actually, I found out later that it used to be a cigar shop.
Irony in look at the irony in that.
The irony in that.
Full circle. So no, I got trained there, and I trained probably for about a year, and then I was doing commentary and managing Christian Frost and Paul Lombardi and. We had a gimmick called High Society. So I was going under TJ Wilde at the time. Literally a name I had for so long, only because it's the same story as Chris Jericho had. It was easy to autograph.
Right.
I found a fun way to write it, and then I just put it together, and I was like, all right, TJ Wilde, I can sign that. I think I signed one autograph in 10 years. So, but hey,
You never signed an autograph for me, by the way. I'm just saying. And we
it got me off to the races. Hey, you got to ask, man. Get your Sharpie ready.
You gotta have the Sharpies ready to go, or if you're a real collector, a paint pen.
I only sign in silver, so remember. So I did that for a few years. That was training, working with Kyle and Matt, and then bouncing around Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts for a few years. So fast forward all the way to 21. I'd been out of the business for a while. I hadn't worked in any companies, and I was sitting there saying, I kind of missed it. You always have that bug still in you, and I realized I never managed a champ. I had never managed anybody to a title, and for a few different reasons, when I was with PWF, I was in the friend circle, and I always felt like because I was in the friend circle, I wasn't taken seriously as an employee or a gimmick or a book person on the show. I was a gopher, and it was like, oh, Matt will do it or something like that. And when you're not viewed as we're not talented, but when you're not viewed as part of the talent and you're viewed as part of the friend circle, then it can be different.
Well, so that's like when I go to Jimmy shows, and they know I'm good friends with Jimmy, and Jimmy goes, yo, whatever Dave says goes, and then they say, like when we did that show with you, Oak goes, go over to Big Dog and talk to him. One kid said, yo, who is Big Dog? And he goes, yo, you don't know Big Dog? He goes, Big Dog's ran all over New England.
Because that was when they sent them to me, him, and Vlad.
And he goes, you know who Big Dog is? He goes, never heard of the guy. I don't think he's that good. And I heard that. I said, son, let me explain something to you. I said, I've wrestled more people than you'll ever wrestle in your life. And he goes, well, you ain't wrestling now. And I said, son, I will take you in that ring before the show starts. I will give you so many receipts that when you're done with me, whoever wrestles you ain't gonna have no problem because you're gonna be so limp, it's gonna look like a limp dick. And he goes, oh, and Oak comes over, he goes, Dave, enough. I said, nah, fuck that.
And there's a lot of guys that, like you said, we had through that company we had come across that really don't do a lot anymore. They all kind of, like you said, they all got away from the business now.
So let my bad. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, it's all right.
Finish what you're saying.
So I was thinking that I never managed a champ, and the reasons I didn't in one place or another. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll give it one last run. And I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it as something I'm comfortable with. I've got a wife, I've got a daughter, I've got a house, I've got a full-time job. I hadn't started the business yet. And I wanted something that wasn't going to take, it wasn't going to be a huge commitment. I'm not trying to make a career out of this. I just wanted to have one more short run in the Indies and be done.
Right.
So I wanted to do something that was easy. That was me. That wasn't something that was over the top as far as different out of my personality, which, goes along with every other, wrestling legend you've heard on an interview say you got to find yourself and turn it up. So I came up with Big Smoke, and I didn't remember the character from Grand Theft Auto. Apparently that was the big joke when I first started. Like Big Smoke's coming.
I don't even remember there being a character, Big Smoke.
Yeah, there was like a big gang guy that was Big Smoke, and he would eat a bunch of.
No shit, I'm gonna have to go look into that now.
Yeah, so I really like the idea of the gimmick of just less is more, soft spoken, not a big shouter in the ring. The guy you'd see in the back corner of a smoky bar, and the humidor I pictured of. Like guys that weren't looking for a fight, but were ready for one. I don't want to put down my drink and my cigar, but I will really quickly if they have to. So I just wanted that element, and that's kind of what I tried to form. And I put the look together, went very old school, classic, almost like Bond villain, just white and black suspenders. Obviously, we didn't have Jim involved yet, so it wasn't any reference or homage to him at the time. And I put together a quick video. I cut a promo and just sent it out to a couple of companies, and only one called me back. And so it was, I met them through Tank, actually, because Tank is a cigar guy. And he's like, oh, you should send it over to Trooper. So I did, and he fell in love with it. So he ended up booking us for our first show. Well, booking me, and then we had to put together the team. But he said he had some people in mind, and we were going to talk. And at that point, it was probably March of 21, something along those lines. And then we were booked for our first show. I was booked for my first show in June or July.
So
Summer
did you ever get
Sizzler,
your
I think,
chair
was our
back?
first one. No.
Summer Sizzler, yes.
You never got your chair back.
No, he can have it. I have no room for it anyway.
So here's
Well,
what I
hold on,
think.
hold on,
Here's
hold
what I
on.
think. I think we should go. You, me, and Joey should show up to one of the shows, and we should be the new humidor. I'll get back in the ring and let you manage me.
And don't think that idea wasn't batted around a little bit once upon a time between me and him, because that idea was batted around quite a bit.
Oh, I'm sure.
That was an idea that even me and you had talked about it. We had batted that idea around. Maybe some videos, some little stuff here and there, and just kind of, throw the feelers out there. But it wound up, I think we got stuck doing something else, working with some other companies
that went.
And
you guys are down in the Carolinas, I think, right?
Well, we were. I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore. I'm not sure yet. That kind of
to the owner.
That was a one-off kind of deal as of right now.
And it kind of went.
That doesn't mean, again, because obviously you've been around long enough to know this. Just because they're a one-off right away, shit goes sideways, doesn't mean he won't take time off, figure it out, and then come back with a new, revamp, so to say.
Well, first of all, he didn't listen to what I said. We used to go on private calls, and I used to tell him this, and
this isn't bashing this guy by any means.
It's not bashing him. I love him to death. He's having a baby. God bless him. But I know his brother. We met his mother.
Yeah, leave the bashing guys to me. I'll take care of the bashing.
If you ever,
I'll leave that to you. I seen some comments that you're good at.
Listen, if you ever want fireworks, I got a good place in Pennsylvania that his mother owns. She just got like 5 truckloads of fireworks, so let me know.
And what's crazy is they're the only fireworks shop open year-round.
Yeah, they're open year-round, and she gets deliveries every 2 days.
Now, like you said about taking the dial and turning it up, when I debuted, and the ironic thing is you debuted at Summer Sizzler for, as a manager for the Humidor, and Summer Sizzler was the first time that I had ever commentated for Trooper.
Oh, was it?
Actually, it's the first time he ever debuted on any wrestling federation.
Yes, that was the first time I had ever, I was always a behind the scenes person of, when I was up there with, hey, what do you need? Yo, go grab this, go get this guy, go get that guy. Okay, cool, no problem. I don't mind doing that. And, that was the first show that, because originally it was supposed to be Trooper and him commentating.
Carlos, what's up, Carlos?
Loso, what up, Loso? And it's supposed to be him and Trooper commentating. And I brought my polo shirt because I knew, Trooper had a match that night under the crazy chainsaw gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I got this. And instead of giving me a heads up ahead of time, which I personally think it was more fun he didn't, because it gave me a challenge to do right then and there. I went up to him, I said, hey, listen, you need me to commentate, whatever you need me to do. I brought a shirt in case of anything, whatever. And he goes, oh no, you're in the booth the whole night. I don't get this information until I'm standing in front of him when I pulled up.
Yeah, that was pretty on par for every show.
But to me, sometimes I find that it keeps for me, it keeps the interesting part there, because then I have to come up with it right then and there.
It's like the difference between doing live commentary and commentary on post.
Right.
I always prefer doing live, but you can't always do it at the show.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got, for logistical purposes, you got to do it in post, but it doesn't capture the same energy of being ringside.
No, because you're not watching everything as it's happening in front of you.
What is the number one thing for a wrestler when they show up at a show, even if you're a guest or you paid for your ticket? What is the number one thing that you have in your fucking trunk?
Bring your gear.
Yes. What's crazy is I will go to shows with people that be like, yo, you want to drive me to this show who's working? And I know the promoters, and I'll have shit in my trunk.
I've brought gear shows where I didn't know anybody there.
Right.
I this is how bad that habit stayed in me. Is I brought my daughter was probably 7 or 8 at the time, and I brought her to a show in Connecticut. Just me and her as fans. Didn't know anybody in the show. Didn't call anybody ahead of time. I mean, I knew some of the guys on the show from working with them previously, but I didn't let anybody know ahead of time. And I had gear in the trunk. It's like I couldn't leave the house without it.
It's funny because like I've had my 2 matches, but I still like if I'm going to a show with somebody and I know the promoter, I know somebody on the card. Like even if I don't, sometimes I'll have my shorts, my shirt. My shirt that goes over it, my big ass chain, wrist tape, and my sneakers all in a bag. This way, if they need anybody, I'm ready to go. I'll go grab my shit and I'll go put it on, and we'll go to town and have some fun. So
Matt, let me ask you this question, and this is referring to him. How many times have you left your gear in the locker room?
Like left it and left for the night?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah, I did that. I did that, but I don't blame that on myself because of all the shit that happened after the show that we had to deal with backlash wise. That I was too busy dealing with that, and I was pissed off.
He left his shorts and his belt.
I left my shorts and my belt, but I can go buy a new one. I'm not worried about that.
I'll try and make you feel better about it. So I've never left my gear at a show, but specifically while working for a troop, the amount of times that I packed my whole bag up, rolled it to the car, and realized that my keys were in my gear bag. So I got to unfold, unzip, undo all these compartments because it's a suit bag. I probably did that every show, because when I was getting ready, I would put my keys in my bag so I don't lose them. And then I forget that that's where they are, pack everything up, get everything nice in its place. All right, ready to go. Walk to the car. Damn it! In the grass now, unpack in the dark in the grass, unpack all my
I've
stuff.
done that.
Listen, I'll never forget. We were at Wallingford, Connecticut for Tony Rumble. Shout out to the late Tony Rumble. So I had my wedding band, right? So I leave it. I think I left it in my gear, bro. Next thing I know, my fucking wedding band is missing. I'm like,
that's not good.
Who the fuck is stealing wedding bands? I'm like, what the fuck? Who's going through my shit? Yep. So the funny thing was, she was pregnant. My wife was pregnant at the time with Joey. So now she's looking for me. Now you'll get a kick out of this. She goes to all the wrestlers. She goes, Can you tell my husband Dave I'm looking for him? She goes, sweetheart, who's Dave? She goes, he's bald head. No, I had long hair at the time. She goes, long hair, heavy set guy. He goes, sweetheart, that's after roster.
I was going to say, that's not being very specific at that time.
Yeah. She goes, big dog. He goes, oh yeah, he's up in the locker room. He goes, oh, can you tell him I'm looking for him? So I get everybody coming up. Yo, your wife's looking for you. And I'll never forget, bro. I was wrestling this guy, JC Biggs. And I'm sure you heard of him. He was like big. So it was me and JC. So now Jim Cornette is cutting a promo during our match outside.
He's another dream guest I want to have on here.
Listen, Jim Cornette was cutting a promo for Wallingford, Connecticut. So
you're here. You can still see you. I'm doing something.
He's cutting a promo. So now we're doing our promo, and he's doing his promo. We're wrestling. I get thrown out the ring, and all of a sudden I roll out, and he goes, and this is what we're talking about. I said, come to Wallingford, Connecticut. You got Jim Cornette. You got Big Dog. You got JC Biggs, who I'm about to pin. Yo, bro, my wife was like, yo, you're the only dude I know that keeps in character, even though that you're getting thrown out the ring. I said, well, what else would I do? So
lights are on still.
You know, I'm still going, and you know, it's funny because I like to have a good time, and I like to teach new guys where to go. But then you get these new guys, Matt, and I'm sure you've met with this. They think they're like a Hulk Hogan and a Roddy Piper.
Yeah, because that don't work for me, brother.
And a Chris Jericho. And you tell them, listen, I had one guy tell me one time, he goes, this is what we're going to do. Now, I'm sitting with Jimmy Snuka. Me and Jimmy are having a good time. And the kid comes over. He goes, I'm working you. I said, that's nice. He goes, well, this is what we're going to do. I'm like, okay. And Jimmy's looking at me and I'm looking at Jimmy and he's like, okay. And the kid is like, yeah, and I'm going to take a powder. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm like, sure. And Jimmy's like, he ain't doing that. I'm like, nope. So we're in the ring and this kid is chopping me. And I mean, like, bro, he's not even chopping me. Like, he's fucking like trying to cut my chest open. Finally, I was like, yo, that's it, bro. I took him. I power bombed him. I fucking went off the second rope. I splashed him. I punched him. And I rolled him over. At the end of the match, he's like, oh, man, you really hurt me. I said, bro, I told you, don't ever tell me what I'm going to do to you. I said, you a new guy. And I said, this ain't the way this works. I said, it's called respect. I said, first of all, you never introduced yourself when you came over to me. I said, you never said hello to Jimmy Snuka, who's a fucking legend, who's one of my best friends. I said, and you didn't even say who trained you. He goes, I didn't know how to do that. I said, then go back to your trainer.
I was going to say, whoever trained you, I learned that from a young age, but that's just from being around him. Like, I go in every locker room, I say hello to everybody. You know, if I'm at a show with somebody and they're like, oh, hey, this is Joey, you know, he's with me, blah, blah, blah. Hey, how are you? I shake your hand. You know, I say hello to everybody. So, you know, it's like, I don't know. Some people don't get it. Some people do. Some people just don't give a shit to do it.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's
like
something that was kind of when you're trained in that old school mentality, and you carry that with you, and it's a lot about who trained you and where you got trained, and that's gonna make a big difference in your future.
And a lot of guys, even, you know, now I notice don't wipe their feet before they get in the ring either.
Yeah, that's kind of something that's gone away a little bit, and now it's almost like when you're doing it, it calls attention to it because it's so rare, and it's also almost an indicator of what style you're going to wrestle, because I feel like the only training people who still do that are technical guys, and so when I see that, I expect that the person who's doing that is probably a more technical wrestler, and maybe they think they're living the gimmick.
You know,
no,
when
absolutely.
I get in the ring, I still do that because it's called respect. Because, you know, you could be.
But again, that goes back to who trained you,
you know,
and where you were trained.
You could be walking on glass. You could be walking on.
Wow, that's something you don't hear all the time. WCCW was my jam. That's something you don't hear at a lot of people. Don't say that.
Championship wrestling,
and a lot of talent came out of that.
Yes, that's where, and let's go back to that.
That's where the Von Erichs came out of.
That's where the Von Erichs were, and that's where
Steve Austin, Chris Adams.
So
the talent alone that came out of there.
Matt, if you don't know, that's where I started my career. I started my career there with Maniac Matt Bourne. I was sitting in the crowd with one of my best friends.
And I knew I got a question to ask you, sir. I pulled up a picture you had sent me.
Hold on. He's from Oklahoma. Yes, so I started my career there. I was sitting in the crowd. It was a Saturday morning, and they had a.
But that's about the right area. Oklahoma, Texas, all that area right there had world class.
They had a battle royal, and they were asking for people in the crowd, and I'm just sitting there drinking a beer, minding my fucking business, like I always do. You know, I'm on my business. So you know, I was. Yeah,
he wasn't minding his fucking business.
I was minding my business.
He doesn't know what that is.
And all of a sudden, my best friend goes, he'll go in. And then I got somebody sitting next to me that's always there with us. And he's like, he'll go in. Then I got the people behind me. He'll go in. So what do? I go over the rope, and I say the rope, it's a fucking fishing line. I go under the rope. I get in the ring. And there's two of us there. And the last two of us, we couldn't throw each other out of the ring. So what does Maniac Matt Bourne do? He goes, both of them get a scholarship, so-called scholarship. So I started training with Mac Bourne and all them guys. And then when I left Texas, I came back here. I really didn't know anybody. And I went to Westchester County Center with my wife at the time, who was my girlfriend. I bought her grandma, her aunt, her cousin. That's when I knew Rakesh and all them guys and Bret Hart. And she was my wife's cousin was a big Bret Hart fan.
Which till this day, she still
To
has
this
the glasses in her storage somewhere.
So Bret Hart came out and gave the glasses to a little kid next to her. She was kind of upset. So I hit Rakishi up and I'm like, Junior, do me a favor. I said, my wife's cousin is a little upset because she didn't get the glasses. He goes, I'll take care of it.
So I used to get a front seat at every match and hung out with all the guys backstage. I was a little kid, but I loved Kevin Von Erich.
So, yes. So needless to say, she's got 3 kids. She's married.
Usually you hear Kerry. You don't hear a lot of people liking Kevin.
So she's married and everything else. To this day, Matt, she still has those glasses and she goes, Cousin Dave got those for me. And to this day, Matt, I swear to God, people say, why don't you wrestle anymore? I said, I do. I said, nobody wants to pay. And they go, what do you mean? I said, they want all these big stars and they use a lot of students. I'm not coming in to set, you know what? I might set up a ring once in a while, but I'm not going to set up a ring every day. I'm not going to set up chairs.
Well,
I'm not going to sell tickets.
I can't say I haven't because I've set up rings at shows I've been, I drove down with the talent and I know they're promoting. They're like, yo, I need an extra hand. Yeah, I got it. No problem. No. And my thing is they're letting me in, to be there without having to, get a ticket. They're welcoming me in. So, of course, I'm going to go help set up the ring. I got volunteered to do music one night. I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing. They walked past me. I said hello to, because it was Outlaw Pro Wrestling. It was Bull's company. And I was there with one of the guys on the card. And Bull came over. He said, hey, Joe. I said, hey, bro, how are you? We started talking, whatever. Then all of a sudden the ref comes walking past me who does music. And he goes, hey, taps me on the back. He goes, you're hired. I'm like, okay, joke. And I'm joking around. Yeah, sure, whatever. And I'm laughing because I think it's a joke. And he goes, no, come with me. I'm like, oh, shit, this is real.
So Matt,
I'm like, you're not joking.
On that note, we got to take a commercial.
And then I got a good question for you when I come back.
And you're going to tell us about your cigar travel place.
Okay.
Let's play this one.
Everywhere I go, trouble seems to find me. There ain't no place that I fit in. Raised in the backwoods, and just like him, oh, I'm a fighting man. Well, I was born with a gun in my hand, child of this land. Lord, please save me from my sins, out here howling in the wind. Look to the west, see your sunset. Someday kneel at the pew. This old wasteland trouble seems to find me. There ain't no place that I fit in.
Yo, we are back. We are back. Another fucking Sunday fun day with your host, with the most, the big dog, the Vanilla Gorilla. And yo, we are here today with Matt Dominguez. We want to thank our sponsors.
He's actually the owner of Match and Sticks.
Right. We want to thank our sponsors, BAMF, Papuro.
I mean, everybody that
S&W, everybody that's been on, everybody that's a sponsor.
We've had a lot.
And now, Matt, tell us about your
how
company.
did you decide to get into that, to the custom, I guess, wedding or event cigar experience? How did that come about?
Sure. So the name of the company is Matchsticks Custom Cigar Experience, or Matchsticks Cigars for short. The way it started was kind of by accident. I was approached, or I got a message from a family member, distant family member, and like a second aunt or something. And she said that her son was getting married in Newport in August. This was 2020. They were getting married in Newport, and he was a cigar smoker. And I'm you've always got a guy for stuff, especially in New England, but everybody's got a cigar guy if you're not the cigar guy. And so she's like, you're kind of the cigar guy that we know, and would you mind helping us get some cigars for Alex's wedding? And I said, sure, I'd be happy to. Like, how many do you need? What's your budget? We went over the numbers, and I said, yeah, I could put that together. So I started shopping around, and then a couple weeks later, she messaged me again, and she's like, hey, would you mind coming to the wedding and like kind of handing them out, so they're not just like random on a table somewhere. And I wasn't like, we're not close enough family that I would have been invited, so I wasn't upset or anything. But I was like, I knew I had family members that were going to be there. So I said, yeah, it sounds great. A nice summer evening at the Newport Mansions, smoking cigars. Like, find me a better night
than smoking cigars on a summer evening.
No, especially with that view. So I said, sure, I can do that. And I put it on my calendar, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I feel like that's not something that happens right now. Usually if you go to a wedding, maybe you'll see like a cigar bar, like a self-serve or a roller, right? But you'll see like a self-serve table, a couple of boxes that are sitting there, and you don't know anything about them. So, but maybe you get one, maybe take one. It might be too heavy for you, and it makes you nauseous, or maybe it's flavored and you don't like flavored. So, as opposed to when you go to like a whiskey tasting or a wine tasting, where you have somebody there to tell you about what you're going to try, teach you the differences, what to look for, how to properly, swirl it in the glass. So I said this. I thought there's not really something for cigars like that, especially in the wedding industry. And when it's something that could potentially ruin your night if you have something like a heavy hitter and you're not more experienced, that can make you sick. So I said, I think there might be a business here. And I was just thinking like a side business, something to do in between, and a little side hustle. And so I kind of put it together, came up with a name, and just kind of made like an Instagram and a Facebook account, and was off to the races. And then as we came close to the wedding, I actually had a friend reach out and said, hey, I have a friend who's a coordinator at Alpine Country Club, and they've got a wedding coming up, and they want to have cigars there. And so she wants to talk. So we put it together. And believe it or not, I had my first booking as a business before the family wedding even happened.
Wow.
So it was a pretty, I didn't even get the experience of the one that inspired the business. I went right into actual business. So I still have my original I bought a tablecloth with my logo on it. I went all in. I invested. I had a partner at the time. We split the investment and got like the business cards together, and it was still kind of like a side hustle. And then a friend of mine approached me, one of my best friends for 30 years, and said, hey, did you get any investment money or anything like that? And I said, no. And he's successful. I'll put it that way. And so he said, well, reach out if you ever do need something to get started. And what's nice about the way I formed the business is I didn't really need startup money other than just buying the tables and the equipment. Right. It ended up coming into place afterward. And so that's when I start my LLC. And now it's like a legit thing. I got to learn how to do QuickBooks and pay my taxes quarterly or monthly through the Rhode Island Tax Division. So it's a daunting task because I'm a cigar guy. I don't know how to run a business. I'm kind of having to try and figure it out as I go along. But the passion of being able to help somebody select a cigar that's suitable for their palate and their strength preferences, their flavor profiles, that's something that really kind of gets me out of bed in the morning. I like setting people up for success. It reminds me when I had my first cigar and my buddy Roy helped me pick one out. He didn't just let me order whatever I wanted or give me his favorite cigar. He helped me pick out something that was going to be good for me. You're what?
Right. And that's kind of what I do. That's kind of what I do now when we go to places. Like if somebody's looking for something they don't know, just like you, I try to pass the knowledge on of what I know or what I ask them what they like. And I'm like, well, try this.
Yeah.
Try this.
We're all doing people in the wild anyway, because we want it to be a welcoming community, and it can be an intimidating community when you don't know anything about it. It kind of, people think of cigar smokers as I thought of Big Smoke, the guy in the corner in a shady bar who was mean to everybody. And that's usually what we're considered. And I'm trying to break that perception in the business. And so being able to
listen, if you need an investment, I'll be retired soon, so I can come up there and I can invest into the company and we can go about that.
He likes to talk. He likes to hear himself.
Yeah, I don't know if you've got quite the look that we're going for. I don't know how you look in a suit with at a wedding, standing behind a table. If I needed a bouncer, then you're right next to me. Yeah, I did just get a hat. My hat's on the way. So, well, one thing I was going to say before we went to commercial is I was going to say I don't know how you guys walk around that living room with all the names being dropped on the floor by Big Dog over there. You must step on. Yeah, I know. Step on like Legos.
That's a little stepping on Legos. It hurts really bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the floor is littered with all these Hall of Fame names you're dropping.
I hate stepping on Legos.
Listen, it's not my problem that I've wrestled for 30 years and I've wrestled with these guys, against these guys, managed. Like Lou Albano was one of my managers.
Oh, geez, here, you dropped something else. Here you go. I'm gonna pick that up for you.
Yeah, hold on, let me pick that up for you. So now not only do you have your matchstick cigar business, you also have another, I guess, side hustle that you've kind of come into doing. And it's one that's, I guess, I would say little known to a lot of people, but certain people know, and
certain people
it's some things that a lot of people don't do. There's very few that do it, and that's you making your custom humidor boxes for whoever wants them.
Oh, so let's throw a name out there.
Well, hold on.
Is it my turn to drop names?
It'll be his turn in a minute. It'll be his turn, but let him get to that part. So tell us what made you want to do that?
Oh man, it's something I like doing but don't want to do it, but I like doing it. So I got hired for a wedding, and the groom was a big wrestling fan. And whenever I do a wedding, I try and accessorize and arrange the decor around the wedding. The custom cigar experience goes a long way. Not only do I curate the cigar selection, but also the look, the aesthetic of the table, even the way I dress if I'm able to. So the groom was a wrestling fan. I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy and fun because I already own all the accessories we need to accessorize the table. And while we were talking, I was talking to the bride, and she wanted to surprise the groom with something like a humidor. And I said, well, we could do like a travel humidor. And because he's a big wrestling fan, I'm like, what would make a really cool travel humidor is the Money in the Bank briefcase, because a lot of travel humidors, as you guys know, are like a briefcase style. And so I was like, that would be a lot of fun. Let me see if I can put the logistics together. And I'm not an artist. I don't paint. I have no idea what I'm doing in that sense. But when I get focused on a project, I just figure it out. So I downloaded just the Money in the Bank logo on a piece of paper and put it over the case of the humidor, and cut it out, traced it out of painter's tape, and figured out the paint layering. And I end up using just spray paint from Home Depot. It's not even like airbrushing or anything.
I was just going to ask, do you spray paint, pens?
So I've always used spray paint. Last Father's Day, my wife got me an airbrush gun. It's very intimidating to try out, to mixing I like the simplicity of the colors on the wall at Home Depot. Yeah, but I like the idea of the precision of an airbrush gun, and so I want to try and get over that fear, because it's still sitting in the box and I feel terrible about it. So I just used spray paint and painter's tape, and then just took my time with it. Put a couple layers of poly over it, a clear gloss to make it pop and protect it. And I gave it to the guy, and he flipped out. He loved it. So when I posted that I made it, I already had 2 other people reach out and say, "Oh, I want one too." And I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, it took 2 months to do, because I got to do that in between all my other projects." And so I was like, "I'm not taking anything else on right now, but I'll let you know." So in between that, I was interested in trying to put together a cigar night with comedian Bert Kreischer. He is a big cigar guy.
Yes, he
and
is.
He was coming to Providence, and I wanted to try and host it, a little private cigar tasting for him. And I thought, I'll make a humidor for him. And come to think of it, I might actually made this one before the Money in the Bank one, which may have given me the idea that I could even do the Money in the Bank one. But the first one I made for Bert was so simple and awful, grade 1 stuff. It was literally just his logo, and I didn't even use painter's tape. I just cut the stencil out of 8x11 paper, and I don't know, it was bad. But it ended up happening. That's a whole nother story about how that happened. But he agreed to it. He came through. We were in Providence. It almost didn't happen, then it did happen. He came through. We had a great time. I gave him the humidor, and we were hanging out till 4 a.m. at Providence. Him and his crew. Nice private event for him. He loved the cigars. He put a very nice video on his Instagram promoting the company, and we had a nice night. It was fun. It wasn't hanging out with the machine. It was just Bert being Bert, relaxing after the tour. So it was a nice change of public perception of him. So I made him another one a year later, which was much more intricate, and that was harder to do. I'll send you some pictures to post.
He uses it quite a bit from what I've seen.
Both humidors I've made him have appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience for the Sober October recaps, both 23 and 24, and so that's a nice little claim to fame.
He might have even put it on his show too.
Oh yeah, it's seen in in his podcast, but the Bertcast. He's got it off to the side in a couple of episodes that I've seen. I don't watch as many episodes as I used to, just because I don't have as much time. But I have some screenshots to at least prove it's been there more than once.
So let me ask you this: your first match ever. Who was your first match, and who was somebody that you'll never forget that you managed and that you interrupted the match?
The first person I ever managed, I think, was Christian Frost. He was a New England guy. He used to be in a team called Rave, and he was actually like a male stripper character. So it was a conflict of styles for sure, but we had a good time. He was a nice guy, and doing spiky hair and wearing all pink and feather boas and stuff. The funny thing about TJ Wilde is it wasn't a gimmick. It was just a name that I came up with, but I had no character wasn't anything. And I don't know if that helped me or hindered me for a long time, but it forced me to kind of it allowed me to kind of go with anybody, because I didn't have a style, but also I didn't have a style, so I couldn't be put with specific people for specific reasons. My second character that I did in Connecticut was Matthew Reason. And that was more of a motivational speaker. Listen to the voice of reason. That's actually a really good one, though. That's actually really good. I was the voice of PWF when I was TJ Wilde, because I always did the commentary. I was the Michael Cole kind of seat, and then so I took the voice and moved it over to Connecticut, so I became the voice of reason. And so it was kind of like almost like a Karrion Kross is doing now, or Sean O'Hare was doing back in the day, just like telling you things.
He was way ahead of his time, gone too soon for sure.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
So then with the Big Smoke was mostly me, but doing the character iterations that I went through, it was just trying to figure it out as we went along, which is a lot like what I'm doing with the business now. Oh, I didn't
So
tell
I
you. So I first managed Christian Frost, and person I managed or I interfered with, if I can twist that question a little bit, the segment I'll never forget that I was a part of was with PWF Northeast Genesis 3, and we brought in Harley Race, Les Thatcher, and Rick Steamboat.
Oh my God! Holy shit!
For a seminar.
Jesus.
And I used to host this interview segment called The Wild Side, and I had these three legends in the ring, and it looked like I was going to pay tribute to them and run like a slideshow of their greatest moments. But what they didn't know is that we had
What's up, Sammy?
Sammy Flo, what's going on? I had your shirt on yesterday. Barber and Cigar Experience, shout out. Or Barbie and Cigar Co. I'm looking at my own gimmick name. So we brought them in, and I was going to pay tribute with a slideshow. And what they didn't know is I had photoshopped myself into these famous pictures of them throughout the years, and talking about the four legends that were in the ring: Steamboat, Thatcher, Race, and Wild. And then they beat the shit out of me afterward. So I'll never forget that.
That's a great thing never to forget.
So
bro.
I have a picture that you had sent me.
Oh, sugar.
We're gonna kind of talk about this because it was something that I didn't know that you did or people you managed until you had sent it to me, and it'll kind of tie back into your custom humidors.
Oh, sugar.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that is TJ Wilde and the Major Brothers very early on at PWF New Jersey.
That's
very
Brian Major,
short-lived.
Before they became Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins.
Yep, this is before the Edgeheads. I forget what year this was.
That had to be
4
I
or
would
5,
say
maybe.
I was going to say early 2000s because they came in like I think it was 6 or 7. I think it was.
Yeah,
that
was.
Whoa, no beard, Matt.
Yeah, that's babyface, clean shaven. I still have that tie. And suit, I think. It doesn't fit me anymore, but I still have it. I got to bring it over to Goodwill. So yeah, that was PWF New Jersey. It was my first and last show with that company. It was run by a real scumbag piece of garbage, which we didn't know how bad at the time. So he said, what we're going to do is the Major Brothers are going to defend. They have a championship match. They're defending their titles. You're going to go out there. You're going to help them win. So just distract the ref or whatever. And then they're going to be very confused, and you guys are going to come to the back, and then we're going to put you guys together in a run. And I'm like, okay. And I did not know I knew they were established. I knew that they were working for NYWC with Mikey Whipwreck. So yeah. I knew they were legit, but we had never met. We had never spoken before that moment. That confusion was almost legit because I think that they forgot I was coming out. But yeah, we went in the back, we walked to the back, and it was supposed to start something, and the company shut down the next time. They never ran again, I think, after that, maybe one more show. But I was talking to so you want to bring that back to the cigar business. So I was watching.
So technically you did manage champions.
I did.
For one night.
Oh man, that is the thinnest version of.
It's a hard technicality, though.
It's a hard technicality, but you did for one night, dog. Come on, say
fair,
it. Yes,
fair. And wrestling is full of technicalities. I wrestled
and then
the tag team champion Major Brothers.
Ryan and then down the line to.
Oh yeah, that's why I came back and I came back and we had that. So I've had my finishing run there with the champs. But yeah, that show I reached out to Matt Cardona because I saw a live video of him smoking a cigar, and whenever I see, just like regular cigar guys, whenever we see somebody smoking a cigar, it's how we met. I was like, oh, what are you smoking?
Every time I see him smoking a cigar, I'm like, bro, what are you smoking? He's like, oh, this. I'm like, bro, you need to come on a podcast. He goes, send me a date. I said, I sent you like 7 dates already. I said, Matt Dominguez told me to send you a date.
Eventually, we're going to get to that point. We're going to have guys like him on, and I really want to have Bully on and all those guys at some point in time. So it's going to come down the line. We're making waves now. People know about us. It's going to happen.
Well, Gage, all you got to do is keep knocking that tree down. That's how I found out with Matt. It's like I got in touch with him on Instagram, and he's like, I sent him a message asking him what he was smoking, and he mentioned it, and then he's like, I've been trying to put together my own cigar for the podcast. If anybody has any info that can make that happen, let me know. And I went right in the DMs, and I can't make it happen, but I know people who might be able to make it happen. So we connected.
Right.
And then I got him connected with some people. And then I started talking about the travel humidors. And I said, would you ever want a custom humidor made? And he's like, yeah. So I made him the Always Ready Matt Cardona humidor, travel humidor. So another briefcase. I almost completely messed it up, and it actually came out pretty well with a nice textured paint when I thought I had melted it. But no, he got it. He loved it. I sent him some cigars with it, and then about 3 months later, he changed his gimmick to now he's the complete Matt Cardona, so he doesn't even really go by Always Ready anymore. Bad timing there.
Well, I got to make another one.
Go ahead. Oh, now I got to make him another one. Yeah, I offered to make him another one, but he got in and out of the cigar. He didn't fully buy in. What happened is he was into smoking and got some cigars and everything. And then we were texting back and forth. He wanted to get a humidor. I sent him some links and told him what to look for, what to avoid. And he ended up getting one. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to put my cigars in. It's arriving today. I'm like, don't do that. I said, you got to season the humidor. It was electric, but I was like, you got to season the shelves. You got to get distilled water. You got to get some Vita packs. And he's like, I'm not going to do any of that. And he's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the cigars in. I'm going to shut the door. I was like, okay, can you at least do this to make sure you don't ruin the cigars? He's like, yeah, I'll buy some Vita packs. But I'm like, yeah, you got to get a fresh sponge. You got to wipe it down. You got to let it sit for like 2 days. You got to redo that about 2 or 3 times. He's like, I'm not doing any of that.
No.
So no. 2 weeks later, he sent me a picture of the electric humidor on his curb out on the garbage. So he did not have the time or attention span to commit to getting that up and running right. I said, mail it to me. I'll get it ready for you and I'll send it back. But yeah, he at least uses the travel humidor, which is nice. And now he's building a new house. Hopefully he finds a spot for it.
Well, him and Chelsea Green, they should. He should have his own section for his own.
Well,
room.
he's gonna. So when he builds his new house, because I listen to his podcast because I like my wrestling figures. I like all that. So he said when he builds his house, he's gonna have a room where he can display all of his wrestling.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have one toy room going on.
Yeah, he said he's got a massive toy room because he's got shit in boxes in a closet.
Dude, he's the only dude.
Closet.
He's the only dude I know that goes to Target and looks for figures of him himself and then other people.
Well, why wouldn't you? If there's a figure yourself on the shelf, why wouldn't you look for it? I would.
I don't have a figure myself yet, and I've been doing it 30 years.
He follows a guy that I came up with on the Indies, who's a big figure guy, and he has a massive collection. And I've seen Cardona comment on his posts when he posts some figure stuff, and it's a guy I started with back in 2001.
Wow!
Shout out to Jason Blade on Instagram.
Oh, I know Jason Blade.
Yeah, huge figure guy. His basement looks like a toy room.
Because I guess this first time I can actually ask this question because we're on this topic. Do you have anything like that you collect and display, or do you just kind of keep them in a box, put away?
I collect cigar swag and merchandise, as you can see all the stuff behind me. And
I know that already.
No, you don't collect cigar stuff. No, Matt.
No, not me.
No, Matt don't collect it.
No,
Matt, I need some True Estate stuff. Do you have any?
He's got a lot.
I could try and find something. I probably have just as much Drew Estate stuff not displayed as I do displayed, and kind of like the problem that Cardona has. I'm out of space.
Tom is not there no more. So who's your new connect?
I mean, I'm gonna have to make good friends with Javier, but Tom's never going anywhere in my heart. He's I don't care if he's over with Davidoff now.
I told everybody when I didn't even know he left until I seen it, and then I was like, well, at least I know if he's with Davidoff now. I believe, if I remember correctly.
He's the brand manager for Zeno.
Which, that's not a bad cigar. I've smoked that. It's actually not a really bad cigar.
I just bought one Friday.
That's the yellow, the new ones, the yellow ones as I call them.
Yeah, I think that's the Nicaragua. Yeah, I got one of the silver tube ones, platinums.
Yeah. Well, I had your phone number, but when I switched fucking phones to the iPhone 19 or 20 or whatever, fucking iPhones,
his numbers didn't carry over.
My numbers didn't carry over. That's why I sent you a message through Instagram, Facebook. Send me.
Yeah, I mean, I will, but you think I just ignore you anyway? And I think I'm glad you got a new number because I blocked your old one because you're calling me at 7 a.m. after the night of barn smoker, and then wondering why I'm not awake. It's like,
motherfucker,
well, he was awake at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was sleeping at 7 o'clock in the morning. My eyes
you were sleeping when he was stumbling around in the rain, going to the Drew Estate tent, and you had to come collect him.
My eyes, actually, I think I was past. I think I did fall asleep that night because I you know what,
dude?
If that's the night I remember, I'd gotten sunburnt that day, very bad.
I went on to buy.
I was like bright red like this. So by the time I got back to the hotel, I was so fucking tired because the sunburn got so fucking hot and everything else. I'm like, I went in, I turned the AC down to like 60 degrees. And I just fucking passed out because I was so over.
Probably looking like the strawberry gorilla.
I went on to buy my barn smoker tickets. Wasn't happening this year.
Yeah, that was a whole other.
That's a whole nother. You could do a whole nother hour and a half on that.
I could, but that night I was a little more impulsively upset than I probably should have been. I might have overreacted internally a little bit, but it's tough because I'm friendly with a lot of the people involved in the process, and so it's hard to be overly critical. But I also can't help when I see obvious improvements that could be made,
right?
And wonder like why. It's easier to see something from the outside when you're not dealing with everything from the inside. So it's easy to, to armchair quarterback
for this year.
Oh yeah, I got tickets for myself and my group of 8 or my group of 7. So we have 8. I bought 8 tickets that night, which was part of the problem. That was part of the difficulty of getting my tickets was the fact that I was buying for 8 people, and they were selling out. The site crashed and everything. But it's an event where,
well, if you got extra, let me know.
I didn't even go in.
Oh, they're all spoken for.
I didn't know that all happened until the morning after when I started seeing all the posts.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm like, yo, what did I miss?
Because if anybody got tickets out there, let me know.
I'm like, what did I miss?
Because I can't get them no more.
I was like, what did I miss that happened? And then I'm reading, like, I read your posts and comments, everybody else's, and I'm like, number one, I'm like, I didn't even know they went on sale.
Right.
Well, you got to watch that Freestyle Live.
I do.
We did.
Actually, I didn't watch the last one because normally the way I've always pictured it, because they've always done it that way, is when they reveal the new cigar is when they release the barn smoker tickets. So I was
they did. Last year was the first year they didn't do that. Last year they do a Freestyle Live to announce the freestyle that it's coming out.
Right.
Then when they do the reveal, they talk about the tickets. And so now it's like a 2-part Freestyle Live. It used to be a 1-part, and now it's been they've been doing it this way. I don't know that it's better or worse or whatever, but it does take some adjusting. You got to watch every time.
Right.
They've created must-see TV.
Now that I know that and having learned from that now, realizing that they do that first and then they do that, now I'll start having to pay more attention to things like that because of the fact that, like you said, it takes adjusting because we all got used to the cigars go out, you smoke the new cigar, they tell you what it is, they tell you, okay, barn smoker tickets go on sale this day, and then everybody flocks to the website.
Well, listen, on that note, guys, we appreciate Matt coming on. Matt, don't go nowhere. You're in the green room. We're going to take a commercial break. And, guys, it's been real. It's been Sunday Fun Day with Turnbuckles and Stogies. Your host with the most, Big Dog.
We'll see you.
The Vanilla Gorilla.
We'll see you next week with the Street Stompers, which that's going to be an episode you're going to want to tune into because we actually wrestled each other down in North Carolina.
Matt, I put him through the fucking ringer.
We went and had and this kind of ties into what we were talking about. That was my second match ever. Like you said earlier about taking the dial and turning it. When we did the show in New Jersey and I debuted, I didn't do much. I didn't say much. I didn't do anything. I came out quiet as a mouse. I didn't have to say anything because I let him do it. Now this show
won't shut up.
Right. This show in the Carolinas, I mean, I had a whole promo that I was going to cut before I walked through the curtain. Like I had everything in my head ready to go. And I had booked Magic, who had booked me in my first match. So I was able to return the favor, which was great for me. When I got the opportunity to say, hey, listen, who do you want to bring in? You know, he was the first person that I brought up because I said, he booked me. I want to bring him in. You know, he's the first guy I want to be able to return the favor. You know, and it was nice to do that. And then to go out, have that match and have him in the locker room. And when I come back through the curtain, have him come out of the locker room and stand there in Gorilla and look us all in our face. And especially meant a lot to me because he looked at us and goes, I'd hate to follow that match.
That's a good compliment.
To me, that meant a lot because that's coming from a guy who's been doing it, you know, however long. And, you know, he saw my first match, and then to listen to the reaction I was getting in the second match that I ever had, for him to come out and say that meant the world because of the fact of where it came from.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always a good thing to hear, but especially hearing it from a veteran like him, you know, it means a lot more than a guy like me who's had his second match going, I hate to follow that.
You know, it has more weight to it.
More coming from a veteran like that.
Of course.
So.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Definitely, guys, go check out www.matchstickcigars.com, at Matchstick Cigars on Instagram and Facebook. You got a wedding, you got a corporate event, golf tournament, just having a party on cigars, reach out.
Anywhere you want to go, he will go. So we're gonna post it up in the comments in the link bio. Check them out. You heard?
See you guys next week.
I gotta take a piss.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.